Welcome to an episode of Fireman Saturdays, and this week I also decided to take a look at the Dinosaur Project, a 2012 British B film that has a muddled identity. This is a film with its fingers in way too many pots. This is a found footage film, a science fiction film, an adventure film, a horror, a thriller, and a drama. This is just too many, genres to be involved in, because some of them, don't crisscross over very well. So, we're left with a film that doesn't know what it wants to do with itself. I mean, it's a strangely watchable film despite this, but I wish they just focused on, one or two specific genres and just worked from there. Because as a found footage film, there's a lot of shots in this film that don't really fit with that genre. They're too cinematic, in their approach. And there's just no way to really explain them. You can say the kid's got wireless cameras all over the place, but why does he have a wireless camera, so far out watching them? Does he have to go recover it later, or does he just have tons he can spare and just throw around all over the place? And some of the shots, like even in the helicopter and things, they still don't make sense. As a horror film, there's no blood or gore. Whenever someone dies, they basically have the cameras fail or cut away and go to black. So we don't really get, the sort of stuff a horror fan would really want. Like I want to see those dismembered body parts. I want to see the buckets of blood just sprayed everywhere, And you don't get that, so there's no satisfying death scenes in the film, for a horror film. As a thriller, they set up suspenseful moments, but then don't have actual payoff because they want to use them as jump scares. They're trying to go back into the horror film element with them, but then that doesn't work either because, they don't follow up that shock very well to make it work as a particularly good jump scare. Because it just, cuts off as soon as, see the creature jump out of the water and kill that guy, cut off. The weird editing starts to bother you there, As an adventure film, they don't really solve any problems, usually. So we don't, get the payoff of an adventure film where you get to see, them overcome a challenge. Because every time they come to a challenge, the film, cuts off and adds to, the already implementing the solution to the problem. Not how they got there. I want to see some of that stuff, And as science fiction, it's not particularly satisfying because we don't really understand how the gateway works. Are all these dinosaurs just living in a magical valley that we haven't been able to observe with satellites for some reason? In 2012, there's basically very few hidden things left, from the surface. And quite frankly, the way they act about the dinosaurs in this film, or the marine reptiles and the flying reptiles, is everyone knows they exist in the Congo, but they hide it from the Western world because reasons unknown. We don't want you to come in, and hunt all these dinosaurs, apparently. Why they care about them so much? No idea. Maybe they think they're just unkillable or something. I don't know. They never really explain why they're a big secret. And it just sort of goes on, the drama involves, one of the guys that's involved with hunting the cryptids going just completely bonkers and killing everyone else because he wants the credit. And they foreshadow this hard. So when he does it, it's not really a surprise. So it's not very dramatic. There's just too much foreshadowing, a cinematic lingering on his face with the camera and hearing him complain early on in the film about how he doesn't get any of the credit he deserves. They give that plot element away just too much, so there's no dramatic turn into it. And that's the basic problem, too many genres, doesn't execute any of them well. But, at least the dinosaur effects, are pretty good. Or I should say the CGI effects, for all these ancient creatures is better than you'd probably expect from a film like this. They're not, as good as Jurassic Park or Jurassic World or anything, but they're good for what you'd get out of a low-budget film. So I guess, we have that going for it, but it's sad when the best element of your film is probably the visuals, and the film, keeps moving at such a fast pace, it's not going to bore you, because, they're constantly moving from one scene to the next, even if it's in rather jarring ways with all the odd edits. But yeah, this one might be worth a watch, but I doubt this is going to be a film you're going to look to and say, this is one of my favorite films of all time. It's just one of the better low budget, dinosaur films out there, that I've watched so far. Till next time, then. See ya.
This is for Dave.
Pete? Pete! Come on, you little beggars! Come here. Here you are.